The vehicle you choose is the best vehicle for you. No pressure. Right now, lease a 2026 Ford F-150 for $198 per month for 36 months. Experience better at Anderson Ford. Stock number 1008623, $198 per month lease for 36 months with approved credit, 7,500 miles per year, 14,000 to signing. No security deposit required. Tax, title, and license fees extra. Residency restrictions apply. Program subject to change. Must take new retail delivery from Anderson Auto Group by 7/6/26.
Rick Heyman here from Sauter Heyman Jewelers. I want to personally thank our great customers for voting us once again the best of Lincoln. At the same time, we're celebrating our 120th year in business in the great state of Nebraska. You can count on Sauter Heyman for the very best quality, value, and customer service. When it comes to your jewelry needs, visit us at South Point, Grand Island, and the Outlet in downtown Lincoln. Visit us today at SauterHeyman.com, and thank you for your continued trust after all these years.
Hey there, this is Paul Scheel, owner of High Electric. I want to thank our friends and loyal customers and introduce High Electric to those looking for a new electrician. We've been serving the Lincoln and Omaha area for over 30 years, from design to install, upgrades, and repair. If you are a homeowner or a small business needing some electrical work, call us at 402-466-6606 or check us out at hyelectric.com. We look forward to hearing from you.
If you become (77404-5238) or check them out online at libertylawgroup.com.
The headlines, they can lie. The scoreboard, it can mislead. But Rudy, whether you like it or not, will keep it real. Get your dose of reality during Real Talk with Rudy Gres IV on 93.7 The Ticket.
That is right. Welcome back to we got a Wednesday edition here of Real Talk with Rudy Gres IV. A little different. We've had Fridays, we've had Mondays in there somewhere, and Sundays usually, but we got Wednesday. We're joined by Tristan Gomes here. Tristan, how are you doing? I think it's our first time we've actually been on the air, at least just us two. I think we've had Harrison in here at one point, but now it's just us. How are you doing today?
Yeah, dude, I'm doing well. That's a nice intro
Thank you.
there.
Thank you. I just changed it up.
Yeah, that's the first time in studio that I've heard it, and yeah, that's real nice. But
wow.
Yeah, doing well. Happy to be here. Happy to be on Real Talk with Rudy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's always going to be fun. My obviously we have informational stuff that we're going to get across here about just knowledge and sports. That's our MO, obviously, but I do my best to keep it entertaining too. So it's going to be a fun one. That's always the goal here. But for those who don't know, you and I both played collegiate baseball over our times in college. Where did you play baseball at? And tell us a little bit about some of the stops you've went on over this time.
Yeah, so from Omaha, Nebraska, went to Midwest, and then for college, went out to Cal State Fullerton to play baseball for 2 years. And then after 2 years there, entered the portal and ended up at the University of Portland out in Oregon.
And what was the portal like? Because that's something that I stayed at Wesleyan the whole time, but what was that like? What was the process like? Did you have any kind of fears going into that?
Yeah, 100%. Because when I went to Fullerton, had a great connection with the head coach at the time. And then after my freshman year, had a decent amount of at-bats my freshman year. And then head coach contract came to an end and they didn't, re-sign him. And so we got a new coaching staff. And for me at the time, it was kind of like, do I enter the portal now? Do I wait and see? So I was like, I'll wait and see and just kind of bet on myself. And kind of was a tough situation where new head coach came in. He was from East Carolina, Jason Dietrich, great guy, but he got his own coaching staff from a whole bunch of different places. And so they had connections with guys from their school that entered the portal, just other people from other schools. And so when that year, my second year comes to be, there's maybe 15 new guys that show up just because they were kind of trying to bring in their own guys. And I think there were 10 guys in my freshman class and only one of them ended up graduating from Fullerton. Nice. So they kind of wanted to bring in their wave of players and get out with old. So after my sophomore year, I entered the portal. And it's so interesting because now when we see certain guys enter the portal, especially for baseball now, it's guys that were freshman All-Americans, or there were guys that were at some mid-major and now they're entering the portal because they want to go to the SEC or maybe go somewhere where they can, make a little bit of money or whatever it may be. But for, I want to say probably 90% of players, it's because they weren't, in a spot that was great for them. They didn't get the best opportunities, or they just needed to go somewhere where they could get those opportunities. So that was kind of my, thought when entering, and, knew a few other guys that had entered the portal, but they were in that boat where it was, they're entering the portal because they're at a mid-major and they're going to go somewhere that's probably going to pay them, and they just want to go to a bigger school. So for them, they were like, yeah, dude, my phone's been blowing up. And I entered the portal, and I'm just like, yeah, I haven't heard from really anyone. Like a few D2s are in there, and then talked to a few like D1s that, just kind of knew me from high school or whatever it may be. But it wasn't like my phone was just blowing up just with schools all the time. And got to a point where I was in the portal and had made a few connections. It was kind of between Memphis, Sam Houston State, New Mexico State, or Portland. And Memphis got a new coaching staff. I'll be honest, I just didn't really want to live in Memphis.
Okay.
But I was like, that's a kind of a cool conference to be in. I mean,
Yeah.
they're in the same conference as East Carolina, Wichita State, so I'd be able to be somewhat close to home playing in that series. But New Mexico State was a place where Coach Kirby, who was at the University of Nebraska, went down to be the head coach, so I knew him a little bit. And then Sam Houston State had just a connection down there through, family, friends. But Portland, my whole dad's side of the family is from Oregon. I was like, yeah, it'd be nice to, have some family close, and they never get to see me play. So I'll have an opportunity for them to see me play. And, talking to that coaching staff, it was very much just like a player focused. And when I was at Fullerton, honestly, my second year, being a guy that didn't play a whole bunch, didn't get a whole bunch of attention, at practice, it was kind of like, if you're starting, we'll talk to you, and like, we'll coach you up. And at Portland, it didn't matter if you were the best guy or the worst guy. Like, coach every day was just going to ask how you're doing. And so got to Portland and absolutely loved that experience. And I think I made the right decision there. But the portal, I bet for a lot of guys, even right now, I mean, there's some guys that go in with just like a no contact or whatever it is. Like, they already know where they're going to end up. And for a lot of guys, though, like myself, I entered the portal and had no clue what was going to happen. Hopefully I found a spot, but I think I made a good decision at Portland.
Nice. Now that was going to be my follow-up question, because obviously with how common the portal's becoming now, again, for all sports, but baseball too as well. Like you're mentioning, I think there's some guys on top programs now who it's their first year there, second year there, and they came from the smaller schools where they kind of use it not as a stepping stone, but like that. You go out, you have a great year, and it's like, okay, now I want to play in some more competitive conference. You want to make, again, more money, but get more exposure too with some of these guys. But we also see so many stories of, okay, they picked the wrong school, or it wasn't the right fit, and then they're right back in the portal. What about Portland made you think it was the right fit, and how did that all come to be?
Yeah, I mean, showing up, I know a few guys that were at different schools. Like, we have a few guys that transferred from Oregon State. And at the time, they cut down the roster limits where you can only have a certain amount. But at the time, like, Oregon State was a program that would bring in 60 guys for the fall, and then they would get rid of guys. And Portland wasn't the case. They were like, yeah, we're going to have 35. We might not even have 35. Like, we're just going to roll with the guys that we got. And it was very much, I got recruited kind of as a corner infielder and showed up, and there were two other guys at third base and then just one other guy at first. And they were like, yeah, just go to first base and work. And it was a very, like, at Fullerton, it was, if you're the starter, like if you're one of those 9 guys, like that's pretty much who they ride with the entire time. And at Portland, it was very much like everyone's going to get their shot. And so when we got into, just inter squads, got a whole bunch of at bats, and then got into the season and had a decent fall, and then got into the season and got a whole bunch of opportunities and opened up. First home run of my college career was opening day was Dixie State, Utah Tech now. And hit a grand slam then. And I was like, all right, I'm in the right spot. And so just throughout the season, just continuously got more confidence. And I think that was the biggest thing for me, was going from a place where it didn't have a whole bunch of bets, didn't have a huge resume of like things that I could be confident about. And then going to Portland and, getting some playing time and starting to see like I can be successful at the Division I level. That just really boosted my confidence and just kind of went up from there.
Nice, man. Yeah, I think so. With the coaching staff there too, like how important was that for the confidence? Because obviously I know you said like, just go to first, do your thing there, which is great, because obviously you kind of have some freedom over how you're going to approach that, which is great. But how much did they kind of feed into you kind of getting your confidence back, or at least establishing that for you?
Yeah, I think the most important thing was when just first day of practice, our head coach and assistant coach both kind of just said our goal as a coach is to instill as much confidence as possible into you guys. And so at practice, if it was a day that I was struggling, it wasn't them just, getting on me or blowing me up. There were days that like they would get on guys, but it was a lot of, we know that you can be better. And I also just think the most important thing was every single day was, how's it going? Or just asking about your life, or like anything going on, anything hard, what is it, how our class is. And so just building more of a relationship. So it got to a point where I could just go talk to them wherever. And so they are a coach and they're still, someone above me, but it felt like I could just talk to them like anyone. And so I think that was the most important thing for me, and just building that relationship. And then when you have a whole bunch of guys that aren't so, afraid to fail. It almost felt like at Fullerton, you kind of knew like the coaches are going to have their guys.
Mhm.
You don't want to get on their bad side. But at Portland, it was like everyone, we're all in this together. And I was kind of cliquey at Fullerton, like just had kind of my group and
Yeah.
everyone was like that. But at Portland, it was just huge, great group of guys and kind of nice, smaller school. But like campus is, right there. And then you go across one street, there's just a huge neighborhood. And that's where everyone from the
Nice.
school lives. And so it was nice. Just like I was 2 blocks away from every single one of the guys on the team. So you would just walk there. And so I think that was just the best thing is the coaches just instilled as much confidence as possible. And it was a lot of not just telling you, hey, you're doing this wrong. It was, hey, you're doing this wrong, but this is how you could do it right.
Nice. Yeah. Big coaching moments versus just getting yelled at, I think is always great. Because at Wesleyan, it was the same thing. We had Coach Christie, who was former coach at Nebraska, and then takes a year off, ends up becoming our head coach the last 2 years. And I think in my time at Wesleyan, over my 5 years, I think we had 4 coaches that kind of stepped up as our head coach in that time. So that was always very interesting learning how to play for some of these guys. And some of them were like a lot better about the confidence aspect and the off the field stuff like Coach Christie was. And I think that's always a plus no matter what. But when you're able to not just say it and actually be about it is huge. Because he that was one of the first things too. We met him and he was like, yeah, like we're here to make you better baseball players, better people, whatever. But there's obviously going to be some days where we're going to get on you guys, but it's going to be for the better. And obviously every coach says that, but we've had some coaches at Wesleyan in the past who in their time there, it never felt like they were really coaching us. It was just, here's what you're doing wrong. That's it. And like, I clearly remember we had a rain delay one time and there's nothing we could do about it. Obviously is rain's coming down. I don't know if you've ever been to Woods Park. It is down the road on O Street. You take a couple turns. It is a city park. And that was our field for the first 3 years while I was at Wesleyan. Not beautiful. Nothing great about it. The hops were, it was very dangerous playing baseball there, especially at first base. You'd get a ball thrown in the dirt trying to pick it and it's going to shoot up at some point. It was bad. And so rain delay, we couldn't do anything about it. The grounds crew, who was just city employees, brought like mix, like a dry mix. They did nothing for the. It was hilarious. It was really bad, but it was hilarious. And then we ended up getting in trouble for that for some reason. We have to run at 6 a.m. the next morning from our previous. It was crazy. And so I think then we get Coach Christie in there. Things kind of flip around. It's a more mature ran program, and I'm sure that's more of the case at D1 pretty often, which is awesome. But for us, that was interesting to see because we had been kind of surrounded by immature baseball, at least not when I first got there. My first coach was great. Second coach that took over was the question mark there, but it's all good. We learned stuff in the process, I think, and that's always
like,
fun.
I feel like one right there. Why didn't you control the weather?
Yeah, that's on me.
That's on you.
Yeah.
Have a little accountability. But then also, it's funny. Like I know plenty of guys from other schools, and I just be like, oh, like why do you guys do that? And he's like, oh, it doesn't make sense. Like that's why we do it. And it's so funny how like that's honestly at a lot of programs, and probably how it was with that second coach is just, oh, why are you guys doing this? Oh, it doesn't make sense. So of course that's why we're doing it. And it just it's absolutely brutal to deal with, but it's so interesting. Like just different experiences from different like people. What are some of the, I'm curious on just kind of the traits of, Christie, but then also just other coaches that you had that are, you think not even are just make good coaches, but like good coaches in the aspect of like the players just continuously got better or actually most importantly enjoyed showing up to practice every day or games or whatever it was.
Yeah, I think because it was Coach Christie that came, and then our pitching coach was Josh Rader, who was a former Husker pitcher, and then Tanner Lubach, who was a former catcher, I believe, for Nebraska. So I think when they all got there, they came in obviously as a group. Those were his guys he brought with him. And they kind of brought all the Nebraska tradition type of things, at least off the field, is how it felt to us. Like it wasn't no longer just, okay, we're just a Division III program. We're just this, and we're just Nebraska Wesleyan. For them, it was like, this is obviously where we're at. This is where we want to be. And I think that translated to us. Because before that, it was more of like, we were there to play baseball, but with the previous coaching hires, it never felt that serious to them. So it didn't feel serious to us, which sucked. And then Christie gets there and it's a huge emphasis of, okay, like the program's not where we want it to be. We got to revamp it. Like it definitely became more of a less, okay, this is going to sound bad for Nebraska Wesleyan tuning in. I love my school, but for the last 2 years, baseball definitely took more of a driver's focus for us. School was important as well, but then it became like more of the job that I'm sure Division I baseball is. And that we handled it well. All of our grades were amazing, but I think that became a huge, not eye-opener for us, but it definitely changed the way we saw baseball at Wesleyan because it was like, okay, he doesn't care we're D3. Why should we care? We just want to go play baseball. We just want to go win. And then that translated. And I think a big thing for him the first year he got there was getting us to not just be teammates, but actually be friends. And so we had like a lot of off-the-field bonding things we did. We had like off-season competitions where we were teamed up and we had to do outside of baseball things. And it's something we had done before, but we never took it serious. It was kind of just to do it type of thing. But with him, everything had like intention and focus. And I think that's something that we learned a lot from him was whether it is like that, just going to eat dinner with the team, or whether we would have dinner buddies that he would set up for us to meet with certain guys on the team to branch out, even before practice for the whole fall. Actually, I think there was one day a week he would have an upperclassman take like a younger classman, and for the first 10 minutes of practice, we would just talk. And so it was cool because like we're talking about baseball, but then it's like I get to learn who these guys are, like where they're from, and that's something we never did. And the fall is always a bad time for me because I don't remember anybody's name after a while. They all just blend together. But I think for him, the emphasis of we're kind of a family first, which was great to see. Because again, our previous coach, we used to break family on three, whatever. And one day he was upset with us for I don't know what, and he was like, "Y'all aren't a family. Y'all can't say that." And I was like, "Oh, all right, like this is awesome." But with Christy, it was always like, what's best for us is what he cared about, and it was really nice to see because it's something we never had there before, at least aside from my first year there, I'd say. So that was probably the biggest thing. The attention to detail translated to us, and it made it so much more fun. And then we started winning games, and that was something we never had done before. So that was super fun.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing in all college athletics is the teams that, I've seen that really struggle is not even like the aspect of just kind of being brothers or being a family out there, or like being close
Mhm.
with your teammates. And that makes it, a lot more enjoyable, but also just like the accountability aspect of it
Oh, yeah.
is if there's a guy that I barely ever talk to and he's doing something wrong, or maybe he's even just like a year older than me, but he's never ever talked to me. And I know that he's just going through the motions or what, I'm probably not going to say anything
Yeah.
to him just because he's going to be like, I don't even know your name.
Mhm.
But when you have a group of guys where you just know everyone by heart, you know everything about them, you're always together off the field, especially. Like I remember at Portland, it was literally we would have class and then have practice from about 3 to 6. Everyone would go home, and then quite a few guys would go to just kind of one of the bigger houses that everyone hung out with, and we would just play like Super Smash Bros on the
Okay.
Nintendo Switch just
Yeah.
for hours, and then it was go home, and then we got weights in the morning, and it was just like a really good. Like I loved everything about life there. I think one thing that I struggled with at Fullerton was I had great friends, great roommates, guys that I played with, but I loved everything about it besides the baseball
Yeah.
part. And so that just kind of made it a little miserable, especially when you're all the way out there.
Yeah.
And I mean, same for you when you're up here away from home, and the baseball part, the reason you're here just
Yeah.
isn't enjoyable whatsoever. But I think when you just kind of have that camaraderie and you're not afraid to kind of get on to someone, honestly, because you know that they can be a lot better, it makes it a lot easier. And then that kind of leads more to like the player led team rather than just the coach having
Yeah.
to tell you everything. It almost gets annoying, like probably like that coach you're talking about that it just feels like it's just a dictatorship.
Yeah.
And you're just like, we have to do whatever he says.
Mhm.
And there may not be a reason for it. And there's no intention, there's no focus. I think Christy probably did a good job coming from the Division 1 level and being at a few different stops of understanding like this is how things are ran at, this level. And you almost have to make baseball a priority. Like I always
Yeah.
thought about when I graduated, I got my, degree, and I'm like, I kind of just went to class because I had to, and I had to get good grades, but like I was here to play baseball. And so in my head, it was kind of a struggle because I got done playing and was like, I don't really even know what I want to do.
Yeah.
Like my mental focus was so much on baseball that I got done and was like, what is going on? Like, what am I supposed to do? Baseball's been my entire life. But it honestly made me so much better at baseball that I wasn't always just like, I got to get hundreds in all of these
Mhm.
tests. I got to do all this. It was like, yeah, I go to class. And then like at 3 o'clock, we step on the field and we get going.
Yeah, and I think something like that as well with because like I said, I would hope that we are focused on classes as well. But the same thing, like we were there for baseball, and I know it's like for us, it was always funny to say because like that, like we're D3, whatever, and like we never disrespected ourselves by saying that either. But we knew like it's a different level, respectfully, obviously, and we'll get into that a little bit here before our break. But the way I always took it was like my baseball is somebody else's class, like that, like the way I was so over analytical over my swing or the approach, whatever I was working on that day. That's like somebody else's OChem class. And like, and that's insane. That's not a class I'm ever going to take. But for me to understand that was super cool. And I don't think I realized that till college. I didn't think baseball was the most important thing in the world for everybody. But you get there and like that, baseball is not everything to everybody. And I think it was really cool for me to see because that was when I got to college, that's all I cared about. And then I was like, okay, like there's people here who don't do sports at all. And that's super fun. And they have their own lives. And then I start meeting them. And it's super cool because everybody has their own baseball is how I started seeing things when I got to college. But kind of going back to what I just mentioned, what do you think some of our biggest differences probably are off the bat, at least in what we experienced? Because I know we mentioned some gear talk yesterday, I think, or a couple days ago, where our brands were different. But like you were mentioning how you got, like, what was a normal gear haul for you guys?
A normal gear haul. So at Fullerton, they tried to keep it. They changed it now just with NIL, and you kind of got to be all bougie and everything. But when I got there, Fullerton was always known as just kind of a gritty program. It seemed like it was the guys that didn't go to UCLA or didn't go to
Gotcha.
Stanford or USC, whatever it may be. And so for the longest time, Fullerton was just kind of this, smaller mid-major, but was continuously in the College World Series, won national championships. And so when we got there, it was very much like you have to earn everything you got. And so we would just get like an orange shirt, and that was our practice shirt. And you had to earn to get like the Titans on the front. But then after like once the season started, we got a pretty nice haul, which was, I mean, we got, probably 3-4 pairs of shorts, few pairs of sweatpants, got like whole travel gear, like 2 sets of travel gear, whole bunch of shirts and stuff. And then at Portland, it was honestly even nicer because the Nike headquarters are in Portland, and at Portland we were a Nike school. And so there were so many things that they would just like test out and be like, all right, let's just give them over to Portland and see if they like them. So they would just give us a whole bunch of like new turfs that came out, or even just random shoes, especially like we got like weight shoes that were sick. And so we got plenty of gear there. But the issue with that is, I mean, none of it had any of like your names or anything. So we had our loops, but our laundry people weren't great. So everyone lost everything. But I would say we got like a pretty decent amount of stuff. And then especially on the baseball side, like if you need new cleats, you would just go and say, hey, I need new cleats. You get them right away.
Nice.
Batting gloves were the same way. Got a new glove every single year, which was sweet. They provided bats. Did you guys have to get your own bats? Do you guys have a bat deal?
we had like team bats, but a lot of us owned our own bats anyway. So like we didn't have to buy those, but then our coach, like they would ask around like, okay, who wants to, like the Cat X just came out, like who thinks they're swinging that? So then we do like polls and stuff, and then there were more team bats, but we had enough to go around. So that was always fine. The batting gloves though, had to buy my own batting gloves every year, which was unfortunate because, as you know, probably went through a lot of pairs on your own as well. So that was never fun. But actually senior year chips, if the performance, I know in Omaha, Lincoln, now they have a facility as well. Our pitching coach, Josh Rader, works with them and has like, he's part of the facility that's ran here in Lincoln. So the guys who run chips and everything, they did like a huge haul for us and the softball program this past season. And so everybody on the team got basically assigned a bat. So we had enough baseball bats for all the hitters on the team to swing. They were war sticks. Never swung them before. Actually enjoyed them a little bit over the season, so that was cool. I'm a big Cat X guy, so I kind of just stuck with that. And then we all got brand new pair of Bruce Bowles batting gloves, which is super cool from those guys. So like, even though we weren't getting a bunch of free stuff from like the school or anything, we always had like donors and people like that who were just willing to help us out, which is super cool. But I'm sure getting a new pair of cleats anytime sounds awesome too. I'm always someone who's very, I try to look as good as I play sometimes, so that's always the fun part, is getting new gear. So I'm sure that was amazing. But I want to hear how was the traveling for you guys? Because I think of course the gear is a big difference, but like that, there's ways around it. We can get to similar points at some point. But what was the travel situation like you guys for out of state series, and then of course wherever else you may have gone?
Yeah, we flew pretty much everywhere.
Nice.
And then also, no disrespect for you, but I never played at a city park.
Yeah.
And
no,
so
I don't
that's
blame
something that would be kind of brutal. But also like in the West Coast Conference, I played in 2, mid-major conferences. So like the Big West, we played UC Riverside, who their field is, not great, pretty bad. Sure. But then also at Portland, we played in some pretty cool stadiums, like played at San Diego. They have an unbelievable stadium. Played at Texas A&M. That one was sweet. And then played at, Oregon State, Washington State, and all of them have really great facilities. And so I think that was probably just like the coolest part. And honestly, I enjoyed playing away games a lot more just because I like traveling and just getting away, but then also just getting a new experience of playing at different places. Opened up at San Diego State my senior year, and they have a, awesome field. They've had the like Mountain West tournament there a few years. And so that was a pretty sick place to play. But yeah, I mean, we flew everywhere. We did, I mean, commercial. We weren't flying private by any means, but typically just flew Southwest or like Alaska, but we were always pretty set.
Nice. Yeah, only time we flew was for our spring break trips, and so we would always go to Florida for those. So normally we'd go to, can't think of what part of Florida, but we went to, it's called like the Russ Matt Invitational, and so a bunch of D2 through like NAIA JUCO schools, they're all out there. So we were playing D3 schools. Obviously, we never played up or down or whatever, but we'd always fly for those, which was great. We always ran into flight delays on the way there and back, which was amazing. Just made the trip even better. But everything else was just driving. And so for our conference, we're the only school in Nebraska. And so every other school's in Iowa, or at least if we played other schools, we played like Hastings every now and then. But other than that, every trip was at minimum like 4 hours of a drive, which isn't horrible on paper. But then it's like, then that would be on a Tuesday. So I remember we'd have our Tuesday series. We'd go to Indianola, Iowa, which is like a 3.5, 4-hour trip just to play one game. And then we'd come back, and then they'd have to come down here for the next 2 games on the next Tuesday, which is okay. But then we'd have like, we'd go to Decorah, Iowa, which is like about a 9-hour bus ride. get off the bus, and then now you got to play a game. Sometimes we'd get lucky and we'd be able to leave the day before, but that was if the school approved it. And then after that, it would be, okay, go. That's fine. But then we went to Waverly, Iowa, which is another like 7-hour trip probably. That day we left the school at, I think our departing time was 4 a.m. So we got on the bus at 4 a.m., drove for the 6-7 hours, whatever it is, got there at like 11 or so somehow. And then we had a game at 2 o'clock we were getting ready for. And it was very, very brutal, especially for me. I was coming off of like, I've had like back surgeries as the reasoning for my like red shirt years and everything. And so anytime we were on those buses, it was just horrible. I hated it, but it was cool because then it's like more time to talk to the guys and we had fun. But yeah,
not at 4 a.m.
No, yeah, not at 4 a.m. I'm knocked out. Yeah, that was an interesting bus ride for sure. It was not my favorite. And then that was Easter weekend. We were supposed to play 2 on Saturday, 1 on Sunday, and then be home Sunday night, whatever. We ended up playing, I think we did 1 on Saturday, 2 on Sunday, and then we came back and got back at Monday at like 4 a.m., something like that. It was a bad weekend.
That's
and
terrible.
we won the series though, so that was our one redeeming quality, but almost swept. We were not very good at closing out series. That was our
I got to
problem.
apologize because there was times that I was definitely just bickering and saying how terrible it was that we had to do like a 3-hour drive up north to Seattle to play UW, and then we'd play UW and drive back and get home at like 11, and I'd be like, this is way too late for me. So yeah, I took a lot for granted.
Yeah, but hey, it's okay. Like that's the thing. It's your situation. I would have hated. I hate 3-hour drives too because one of the schools is that close to. So I get it. But yeah, one final thing before we get to our first break here. I know you mentioned you liked playing at away stadiums. I was the same way. I feel like I also just played better on the road. I don't know why. At home, I don't know. I think it's because we don't have a batter's eye that's that big at our new stadium, so I'll blame it on that. Other schools have some pretty good batter's eyes. But what is your favorite? Give me your top 3 stadiums you've played at while you were in playing some collegiate baseball that stand out the most and why.
Top 3. Number 1, I have to go with Texas A&M.
Okay.
That was the coolest place I ever played. One, because we showed up, we're Portland, but it was like second week of the season. Fans are excited for the year.
Oh, yeah.
There's 7,000 fans there. We went on Friday night. I actually broke up a no-hitter in like the 5th inning against their Friday guy who got drafted in like the 2nd round. And then Saturday we win. Sunday I hit a 3-run home run.
Nice.
99 miles an hour was the pitch. That was the fastest pitch I've ever hit. Actually, funny enough, first pitch blown by me. Next pitch I hit, like I'm a left-hander, hit it straight into the Texas A&M dugout so late. And then next pitch, I'm like, all right, he's not going to beat me with the fastball. Like as he's like starting his windup, I'm already starting my swing and somehow barreled it dead center.
Jeez.
And if he would have thrown me a slider, I was cooked.
You're done.
But San Diego is super cool.
Okay.
It's like built into a hill and it's huge. And then it's San Diego, so it's just beautiful weather.
Mm-hmm.
And then the last one, Oregon State sweet. Oregon State is pretty cool. And they always show out and have a lot of fans. So those are probably like my top 3. We played Oregon State so much, but still I loved going there.
Nice. Yeah. Very different from what our stadiums sound like, but that's cool. I think I'll throw my favorite one in there. We played at the Blue Wahoos, which I think are the AA affiliate of the Marlins. We went down to Pensacola for this past Florida trip. We played Wisconsin Whitewater, who are I think they won the Division III championship the year before last. And then they have guys who get like signed to MLB contracts. So we were facing some pretty good arms. They got guys who are like that. Like I think their whole thing is like there's not Division I baseball in Wisconsin, so they all kind of just go D3, which is interesting. And so we played them. We almost won one, and then we were down by 1 in like the 8th inning, give up a grand slam that I think probably landed in the ocean behind the field. So that was awesome. And then we ended up losing, but it's all good. I got to face one of their closers, and that was
brutal.
That was, yeah. I mean, I barreled. We were on. And this is the last thing we'll get into before this break. We played them twice that week. First one's the grand slam game. We got out of hand quickly. Second game, they got on us pretty early. We didn't have a great pitching starting for that game. And so they put on, I want to say like probably like 8 or 9 runs in the first inning. Yeah, no, it was brutal. And I'm like, all right, like I wasn't starting that game. So I was like, there's a chance I'm coming off the bench later anyways to pinch hit. Like, but then I'm watching, I'm like, yeah, like I'm not going to get burned here. I'm probably not touching the field. And then we start making a comeback and I'm like, okay, like it's getting interesting here. And then like with 2 outs there, they make a pitching change. And then my coach is like, Rudy, grab a bat. And I was like, oh, great. And so after, of course, it was a long game with how many runs they scored. Get in there. I think it was probably the 2nd or 3rd pitch of the at-bat. I squared it up, and I was like, oh, wow, like that's great. And then straight to the center fielder, and we lost the game. So I'll take the blame for that one. But with that being said, we'll be taking our first break here. This is Real Talk with Rudy Gres IV, joined by Tristan Gomes in here. We're going to get into some more baseball talk, baseball business here. Keep it tuned right here on 93.7 The Ticket, ticketfm.com.
Hey, Husker Nation, this is Todd Euler, 2-time national champion with Window World Lincoln. Are you ready to transform your home? We offer exceptional replacement windows, doors, siding, and roofing that will elevate your home's curb appeal and value. As a nationally known, locally owned business, we treat you like family and work tirelessly to deliver the best for less. Don't wait to give your home the upgrade it deserves. Contact Window World Lincoln today at 464-7313 or check out windowworldlincoln.com. Let's make your home the talk of the neighborhood.
At Anderson Ford, we offer a 5-day return or exchange policy, so you can make sure the vehicle you choose is the best vehicle for you. No pressure. Right now, lease a 2026 Ford F-150 for $198 per month for 36 months. Experience better at Anderson Ford. Stock number 1008623, $198 per month lease for 36 months with approved credit, 7,500 miles per year, 14,000 due at signing. No security deposit required. Tax, title, and license fees extra. Residency restrictions apply. Program subject to change. Must take new retail delivery from Anderson Auto Group by 7/6/26.
Rick Heyman here from Sauter Heyman Jewelers. I want to personally thank our great customers for voting us once again the best of Lincoln. At the same time, we're celebrating our 120th year in business in the great state of Nebraska. You can count on Sauter Heyman for the very best quality, value, and customer service. When it comes to your jewelry needs, visit us at South Point, Grand Island, and the Outlet in downtown Lincoln. Visit us today at sauterheyman.com, and thank you for your continued trust after all these years.
Hey there, this is Paul Scheel, owner of High Electric. I want to thank our friends and loyal customers and introduce High Electric to those looking for a new electrician. We've been serving the Lincoln and Omaha area for over 30 years, from design to install, upgrades, and repair. If you are a homeowner or a small business needing some electrical work, call us at 402-466-6606 or check us out at hyelectric.com. We look forward to hearing from you.
If you become ill or injured at work and need an experienced attorney, call Liberty Law Group. The attorneys at Liberty Law Group will defend you in court, protect your rights and freedom to get you the best possible results for your case and the justice you deserve. Trust your rights and freedom to Liberty Law Group, attorneys serving Nebraska and Iowa. Call them today at 877-404-5238. That's 877-404-5238. Or check them out online at libertylawgroup.com.
If one of the things running through your mind as a business owner is the recurring worry of possible cyber attacks, you can let out a sigh of relief. Hamilton Business Technologies has you covered. As the official business IT partner of the Huskers, we offer real-time threat monitoring, advanced security protocols, and more to keep your data safe from harm. We care about the success of Nebraska businesses and communities like yours. Learn how we can help you at hamiltonisbusiness.com.
Hi, Kendall Warnock here, owner of A1 Automotive. If you own a BMW, Audi, Volkswagen, or Mini, you know specialized service matters. Our team uses advanced diagnostic equipment, OE equipment, including factory-level software, to accurately diagnose and repair your vehicle. Dealer-level capabilities with hometown service. A1 Automotive, 1117 L Street. You can call us 402-477-4660.
At Parkview Animal Hospital in Lincoln, it's not just their professional care that sets them apart, but their warm staff and state-of-the-art facilities. Whether it's for a routine checkup or a comprehensive medical procedure, at Parkview, your pet isn't just another number, but a valued member of their caring family. Visit them at pahlincoln.com today and in person just south of 14th and Pine Lake Road. Parkview Animal Hospital, your pet, our passion. For happier, healthier, furry friends.
If you want to make new floor shopping easier, come to O Street Carpet. Hi, I'm Steve Carper. Our flooring professionals can help you choose the best flooring for you, your family, and your budget. We eliminate the confusion. Even better, you'll be enjoying your new flooring much sooner. No 6 or 8 week waits. We'll install right away and save you money on installation. Floor shopping made easy every day at O Street Carpet.
O Street Carpet.
1732 O Street. Family owned and operated. Always the best value.
Perch Merch is your one-stop shop for all your printing and promotional needs in Lincoln, Nebraska. They specialize in screen printing, embroidery, vehicle wraps, window wraps, print collateral, promotional products, and signage. At Perch Merch, they're committed to delivering high-quality products and exceptional customer service. Their experienced team of designers and printing professionals will work with you every step of the way to ensure that your vision is realized. Call for a quote today at 402-217-5212 or go to perchmerch.com.
Get rid of pesky critters once and for all with Bats to Rats. Their expert team is here to help you reclaim your home. No more sleepless nights caused by crawling critters or flapping wings. Bats to Rats ensures a safe environment for every family member. Check the website at batstorats.com for amazing offers And if you mention this ad, you'll receive $10 off your initial inspection cost. Call Bats the Rats today at 402-781-8691. That's 402-781-8691. Bats the Rats.
Reality is setting in. Now back to Real Talk with Rudy Gres IV on 93.7 The Ticket.
That is right. Welcome back to our second segment here. Again, joined by Tristan Gomes here. Real Talk with Rudy Gres IV, 93.7 The Ticket, and theticketfm.com. You missed the first segment. It was a good one. We compared a lot about our Division I, Division III lifestyles, and it's always interesting to talk about that, I think, especially because I feel like at Westland we actually had some decent facilities overall. I mean, we got the new stadium that was built, the Sand Hills Global, that we have our own field there, which is great. But I feel like for us at Westland, like it wasn't the typical D3, so that's always just obviously we didn't have amazing end all be all type of deals, but I feel like it always could have been worse was my thing. For us living in like for on paper going to a Division III in Nebraska, I was envisioning a little scarier situation to get into. But I love Westland. It was great to me, and I'll brag about it forever. So, but to keep it on baseball here, this has been a hot topic for me at least. Something I've been at a gripe with for the last 2 weeks probably now, but for sure the last week. What are your thoughts on the All-Star Game fan voting, the way that system's set up? And have you seen some of the finalists and where they're at right now with the percentages?
I have seen some of the finalists, and honestly, I do appreciate that there is a fan vote.
Mm-hmm.
I do think that there should maybe be maybe a higher priority of the voting, just because like fan vote, you could find someone and a whole bunch of fans just absolutely adore them, or you have a big fan base and they just go, yeah, this is a guy that we want in the All-Star game. Mm-hmm. We want him starting in the All-Star game. And I just don't think it's great that the fans can get involved and have some sort of planning. Because I mean, the fans are honestly what make Major League Baseball. Oh, yeah. They're the ones that, sell at the stadiums. They show up to the games, but it's just a little different or interesting to me that they, honestly we have so much power in it.
Yeah. And I remember, I don't know if it was the 2025 season or the 2024 season. It was at least in the last 3 seasons where White Sox catcher, former Astro, Martin Maldonado, was the catcher for the White Sox, and there was a huge rally around like fans trying to vote him into the All-Star game. And I think at that point he was probably still batting under 200, no home runs, not a power guy. But again, like you're saying, there's some instances where guys just get rallied around, and I think for the Blue Jays, for those who don't know, I'm a Blue Jays fan, so on paper this should be amazing that I'm going to get to see all of my guys in the All-Star game, but it is just crazy to think that like they have a whole country behind them. And I think that's cool on the hand that like, yeah, like you can rightfully get your guys in there if you really wanted to. But then you're looking at it like Jesus Sanchez is up here for an All-Star finalist who I want to say he has 4 home runs. He's not an All-Star. And I think that's my biggest thing is like it's great to have power. And I'm super happy we do. Cause again, like the NBA, they have the players who draft their own. The NFL is different. Like it's cool to have some say in this, but then like that, I would hope that at some point they give us, like you're saying, the qualifications of here's who can actually be able to be up for votes, because like that, like Vladimir Guerrero Jr. has 4 home runs and he's leading the first baseman race right now against Ben Rice, who has 20 plus, and then Shea Langeliers is rightfully beating Alejandro Kirk. Alejandro Kirk is a finalist for the catching position. I think he's batting like sub 200 with 2 home runs right now, and he's second place. And it is crazy to just think that like some of these guys, just because of the fan base they have, that they're able to be in this case. I mean, the National League looks pretty normal, I'd say. That one just looks like regular fans who are voting for regular players that should be in there. And of course, there's going to be some bias, but first base has a Blue Jay, shortstop has a Blue Jay, the starting second baseman is going to be a Blue Jay, third base has a Blue Jay, the DH position has a Blue Jay, catcher has a Blue Jay, and then of course there's 2 Blue Jays in the outfield right now that are up for voting. And I don't know. What are your overall thoughts on the All-Star game? Because I had mentioned it's a popularity contest, but I don't think that's a bad thing entirely, because you don't want some players. I mean, every player deserves to be there if they have the stats for it, but then there's going to be some players that aren't marketable and aren't whatever. Do you think that comes into any of these kind of voting decisions? Like, because Ben Rice, you can market a decent amount, but maybe not as much as you can market a guy like Vladimir Guerrero Jr., I think.
Yeah, I mean, I think that has to do with some of it, but also I still think that like the Major League All-Star game is probably the best if you're comparing it to the NBA or to the NFL, especially because that one's just gone out of
Yeah.
whack. And I think for, just the sport of baseball, it's beneficial because if you have multiple guys, especially you'll have multiple starting pitchers that are just going to, go in there and pitch. So you're going to see just so much talent. And then if you're a guy getting into the box, maybe I'd like that it's in the middle of the season, but for the NBA in a similar fashion, but it's not so much of I'm competing in this guy, so I can honestly have an idea if I face him in the future.
Mm-hmm.
But in, the Major League Baseball All-Star game, you have guys that if I show up to the plate and I'm seeing a guy that, I'm in the AL, I see a guy in the NL, I could say, I could see this guy in the World Series.
Yeah.
And I can, get a little visual of, what's this guy have? What can I see from him? And also, it's just so much more competitive, I think, because it's I want to get a hit off you, and every pitcher, no pitcher ever steps on the mound, especially in the All-Star game, and says, yeah, I'm just going to, go out there and, get my inning in or 2 innings in, and then I'm going to get out of there. Yeah. I'm going to try to strike out every single batter that I can. For the hitters, it's the same exact way. So I think the marketability does have a little bit to do with it. I mean, I don't think even if, let's say, the Rockies were a team that were just absolutely unbelievable and had a whole bunch of guys, I still think they might not choose, those guys, or even fans probably wouldn't even, because those aren't games that people are really watching. So I think, being in a bigger market or being a guy where, like Bobby Wood Jr., for example, he's with the Royals, smaller market team, but he's just he's the guy.
Yeah.
He is a guy that everyone in the league knows. He's obviously going to get the votes, but I do think there probably is a little bit of a bias to these larger market teams.
Yeah, I think that's always going back to the competitive standpoint. I think that is probably what makes this weekend so great, or week, a couple days at least, so great. Because like you're saying, no athlete, and again, you see it in the NBA and the All-Star games. There's no defense being planned. They don't care about many of that. It's who can score the most, who's going to get the dunks, the long threes, which is great, cool, it's entertaining. But for baseball, that is exactly what makes it entertaining. The fact that these guys don't you can't ever take a pitch off, and I think we hear that so much in baseball, but to see it at the All-Star game is awesome because again, these guys are having fun. Sure, they're playing with some of their best friends, and then on the opposing teams, they know so many of these guys so well, but there's never going to be an at-bat in an All-Star game or any game where, like you're saying, I'm going to go up there and if he strikes me out, it's okay. That competitiveness, you can't really flip it off in the All-Star game for baseball because it's still going to be baseball. With that being said, though, what are some of your favorite All-Star moments that kind of come off the head for you that, as you've grown up playing baseball, things that have just stand out over All-Star weekend? I mean, it's not a weekend, but we'll call it that for the case.
Yeah, I mean, I absolutely love the All-Star game, but honestly, I think the home run derby is the best part of it, easily. And I mean, I remember watching, Pete Alonso. I didn't want him to win, but he's a guy that's just absolutely dominant. I think it's also impressive to see just how superhuman some of these guys are.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, even when Stanton was winning his, home run derbies and just seeing his unbelievable, just bombs. And I also think it's cool that you have the futures game. The, NBA also has something kind of similar where they have just kind of the younger guys, or they have the world versus the US or whatever it may be. But for Major League Baseball, I think it's great that you can also watch the futures game and see just all right, who are these up and coming guys? Who are the guys that we're going to be seeing for so many years to come? And then I think it just gives you a little bit of a deeper look into just Major League Baseball and then minor league baseball, more importantly, because I think so many people honestly just understand Major League Baseball. They don't understand the grind of minor league baseball. So I think the Major League Baseball does actually just a great job with the All-Star Week in general, just having it so you got the futures game, you get the home run derby, you get the All-Star game. I can't really think of many All-Star game moments.
Yeah.
But I mean, I watch it every single year.
Oh yeah. I think if I had to pick one though, I think I would also not pick one from the game. I think I would go for that. Can't think of the exact year. I want to say 2018, maybe 2019. One of those years. I think it was the Cleveland All-Star game. And that was when Vlad was in the home run derby. And that's still one of the best nights of my life until he lost to Pete Alonso for Pete Alonso's first home run derby of 2 or 3 at least that he got. But it was insane. He put out 96 home runs that night, still ended up losing, which was great to see, sure. But I think it was interesting because I think up until that point, in this similar fashion right now, I want to say he probably had Vlad had single-digit home runs. I want to say it was somewhere between 3 to 5, somewhere in there, maybe 6 in there. And he goes out there, and I remember he took on Matt Chapman in the first round. Everybody was like, this is a horrible matchup, first of all, because Matt Chapman doesn't have power like that. And 2, we haven't seen anything from Vlad. And then Vlad goes out there, kills it. Matt Chapman's dad was pitching to him, just throwing cutters and sliders in there. It was awesome. So, I mean, that's always going to stand out. But yeah, I think they do a great job of it because then like that, you're able to have a guy like Vladimir Guerrero Jr., who maybe shouldn't have earned the spot in the home run derby, but they know what he's capable of. They're able to market that and showcase it. And in the same way that NBA does that for the younger guys there too, it's always awesome. But
Low key.
Yeah.
I wish I could go back to like the steroid era.
Oh, yeah.
And watch those home run derbies and just see like Sammy Sosa,
Mhm.
Ken Griffey Jr., like those guys just hit absolute nukes the entire time. But then also, they would never do this and it would be a huge safety hazard. But imagine you gave them like just metal bats.
Oh, I've heard that.
I've thought about that so many times of just like we're seeing some guys hit 500-foot home runs and you just think like, imagine they had like a DeMarini in their hands and like, you know, they have the goods. How far can Aaron Judge hit a ball? Like, it would just be absolutely absurd. So I think it will never happen. But maybe they should have, you know, like how there's YouTube golf now. They should have just like baseball players just go do a home run derby with metal bats.
Yeah, I think that'd be for sure the dangerous part. Yeah, sure. But that would be insane to see like that. Like, I think the first time I ever heard that question, like just hypotheticals like that, like imagine if Giancarlo Stanton had a metal bat in his hand. Like, one, that'd be dangerous for anybody even in the crowd to just get drilled by one. But obviously, some of those kids get drilled during the home run derby in the outfield, and that's never a good thing, never a funny thing, but it's a real thing that happens. And yeah, I mean, if some of these guys had metal bats, that'd be extremely scary. But I would also love to see the show they'd put on. And I think we all would. But with that being said, we'll be taking our second break here. Real Talk with Rudy Gres IV, joined by Tristan Gomes. Again, talking more baseball. We'll wrap things up here. Send you on your way. This is Real Talk with Rudy Gres IV, 93.7 The Ticket, ticketfm.com.
Lincoln is full of great golf courses in a state that is getting national recognition for exceptional golf. Friend Country Club is worth the drive, just 40 minutes from Lincoln and home to one of the state's most respected 9-hole courses. Enjoy their restaurant with popular items like a 14-ounce ribeye, 10-ounce sirloin, or chicken fried steak. Open Thursday through Saturday from 5:30 to 10 p.m. Expand your horizons with a trip to Friend Country Club, just 40 minutes southeast of Lincoln. It's worth a visit.
When something breaks, you want someone you can trust to fix it right. Empire Repair is now open in Waverly and ready to serve our community with reliable auto repair and maintenance. From routine service to bigger repairs, our team is here to keep you on the road. Stop by Empire Repair in Waverly or call 402-786-2224 to schedule your service today. Empire Repair, proud to serve Waverly.
Big value and big flavor meet at Wings and Rings thanks to the all-new delicious Duo Combo. This is the one you've been waiting for. Get one half-sized appetizer and 2 entrees with a side for only $19.99. Bring a friend for the best deal in town on any day of the week, during game time, or whenever the heck you want. Their made-to-order wings and chicken sandwiches are waiting for you at their 68th and O and 40th and Old Cheney locations. Stop by Wings and Rings and celebrate every day with the best meal deal in town.
The crack of the bat. Sizzling concessions. Yeah, that's the sound of summer at Haymarket Park. It's been that way for 25 seasons. And in this city, it's not a matter of if you'll catch a game, it's how many.
Safe.
That's because there's always something in play for Salt Dogs fans. From saluting our troops to Friday night fireworks, your local tradition plays on. Let's show summer how Lincoln celebrates 25 seasons. Get your tickets at saltdogs.com.
Bauer Underground has been serving local contractors and utility contractors all across the state since 1997. When you see the black and white trucks, you know that the best workers in the business have arrived. Bauer is currently looking for equipment operators, laborers, diesel mechanics, and aerial linemen. Join the brotherhood built upon hard work, authentic people, and a pedigree of success. They're offering top-notch benefits, matching 401k, and a $600 per year clothing allowance. Bauer Underground, a family-friendly company with room for advancement.
Big box stores are tempting for buying equipment for your high schooler in sports or for yourself in your sports leisures. But buying new is awfully expensive. Why not go somewhere with new and used options? Played Against Sports is quality, slightly to gently used equipment, and 50% of their inventory is actually new equipment. It's more than baseball, softball, and golf. They also have equipment for disc golf, fitness, hockey, and more. Plus, they're always buying products. Bring your gear that you're done with and get trade money on the spot. Play It Against Sports at 48th and Vine.
Concrete Industries has immediate openings for production laborers, operators, and drivers. Earn great pay starting at $21.50 per hour, plus health benefits, 401k, paid time off, and more. Right now, production laborers can earn a $1,500 hiring bonus, and drivers are eligible for a $2,500 hiring bonus. No experience? No problem. Concrete Industries offers on-the-job training and opportunities to grow your career. Start your future today. Visit concreteindustries.com.
Reality is setting in. Now back to Real Talk with Rudy Gres IV on 93.7 The Ticket.
That is right. Welcome back to your final segment here on Real Talk with Rudy Gres IV. Once again, joined by Tristan Gomes here. Been a great talk, baseball all through and through, and we'll stay on the baseball topic. No need to change anything. Of course, LeBron news is out there, and hopefully he'll be in San Antonio at some point, but I doubt it. But with that being said, I do want to ask you some questions here before we wrap things up, just to get more into the personality of you as a baseball player is what I'd say. First off, who, over your time as a baseball player, just growing up with the game and everything involved, who are some players that you looked up to or modeled your game after?
Yeah, I want to say player I looked up to and kind of made me a Red Sox fan was David Ortiz.
Okay.
It's kind of tough because I wouldn't say like after 2018 and they, won the World Series, I'm not sure if I like really stayed as a Red Sox fan and then met a few actual guys from Boston, huge Red Sox fans. I was like, I don't know if I really like you. I don't know if I want to associate myself with you. But David Ortiz was a guy just growing up, just as a left-handed hitter, just seeing David Ortiz hit bombs all the time. He was a guy I was just like, I could watch him hit all day. But then when it came to kind of modeling my game after, especially in, college or in high school, there's two guys that like really come to mind. The first one is Matt Carpenter.
Okay.
I just loved his, when he would just kind of lean back in the box and just, get all relaxed. Cause I was a guy that, at times would really just overthink or get super stiff, overswing. And so I would just watch videos and be like, look how relaxed he is. Like literally just like in the box. If the ball's over the plate, if it's something I want to hit, then I'll take a hack. Yep. But I don't have to be so anxious or so antsy up there. I would always be like, oh, I want to get a hit so bad. I want to get a hit. Then it's slider in the dirt and I'm like, I'm cooked. And then Matt Olson is another guy, just as a big, tall, left-handed hitter. And also just how like wide hit or back, how far back his hands were was something I kind of just tried to model just to kind of get my hands through. And so those are guys that I say I just watch so much. And just anytime I was watching video or just, comparing my swing to another, those are guys I probably did the most. Probably not David Ortiz because he's just a freak of nature and just huge and just had his own swing. But Matt Carpenter and Matt Olson are two guys that I just love to watch hit.
Nice. Yeah, I could definitely imagine those being good guys to model it after just because of how simple they made it look too. Like that was always interesting to see, especially with Matt Carpenter. The relaxed look was awesome. Mine was Luis Arias, even though I'm a right-handed hitter. Just his ability to not strike out is something I love the most. But second question here before we get to the third. If you had to give advice to a kid listening right now who does want to play collegiate baseball at the Division I level or just any level of division of baseball, what is one thing you think that matters more than a lot of these younger kids think about right now?
I kind of got two things. Number one is no one cares. Like in a sense of, I remember there were so many times I would go to practice, especially at Fullerton, as I would show up and I would be thinking to myself, we'd have an inter squad or we'd even just have BP. And I'd be thinking, if I had a bad round of BP or struck out or something, in my head, I was always just thinking, oh, the coaches probably think I'm terrible, or my teammates are probably like, why is this guy even here, or whatever it may be. And then it got to a point where after an inter squad, I'd be like, yeah, I went 1 for 3 today. And then someone would ask me like, oh, how did this guy do? And I'd be like, I have no clue. And everyone is like this, where everyone is so invested in just their own, struggles or their own success or whatever's going on the field for them. They're really not noticing too deeply what's going on with you. And when they go home, I was thinking the coaches were going home thinking like, wow, Tristan's terrible. I was like, no, they're going home to their family and they're not thinking about me whatsoever. So I think that's just one of the biggest pieces of advice is just don't care what anyone thinks, because number one, they're not even thinking about you. And also if you're basing your life based on what other people think, then you already fell behind. And then also it's not that deep. I remember for so long I would strike out or have a bad day and I thought it was the end of the world. And I was like, it's not life or death. It's not anywhere near that. And it got to a point where my best success came from, when I was just going out there freely and just saying, all right, we're just going to go play. If I strike out, the sun's going to come out tomorrow.
Yep. And then lastly, my favorite question to answer and ask anybody, what was your walk-up song and why your last year of college baseball? Or if it was the whole time, what was it and why?
My junior year was Too Much by Drake. That one was fire. But then my last year, I was a huge B.O.B. fan growing up. And so it was Ray-Bans by B.O.B.
Oh, wow.
She wanted to pop bottles and hang with all the folks. Yeah, that's what it was. And that was one that got the dugout bumping. So
that's always fun. Yeah, mine was Bad Bunny. So I definitely got the crowd
fire.
going. Yeah,
that's fire.
Always fun. Thank you again, Tristan, for joining.
Yes,
this
sir.
was Real Talk with Rudy Gres IV. Keep it tuned right here. We'll have more shows and more fun going on all day on this very fun, very hot Wednesday here in Lincoln, Nebraska. Real Talk with Rudy Gres IV, 93.7 The Ticket, ticketfm.com.